Welcome, everybody, to the first short track race of the HTL Cup Series season. Welcome to Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway. heat racing coming up here tonight on ABN. We're glad you're with us here for what should be a pretty exciting night, to say the least, here in Bakersfield, California. This is race 4 of 23, and it already feels like we've gone on a pretty exciting journey so far. That journey continues here in Central California as drivers go through and set their qualifying times. We'll walk you through what these heat races entail in just a moment's time, but welcome to HTL coverage on ABN. A lot of excitement going into this race. People pretty excited to race at Kern. We'll see how that shakes out across the night. Short track races have been pretty chaotic in HTL over the last few seasons. And for some drivers, they're going to try to capitalize on that tonight. The points as they run going into this race, Bryn Roberts with a race win at Willow Springs a week ago. Top of the board, those in the cyan, the light blue, they have a race win. Basically guaranteed a chance at the playoffs if things hold right now. Tucker Sawyer, Eli Sasek, the best drivers without a race win after 3 races over Matt Vorendren, Mark Kissenweather, Josh Susie, Cody Pennell, Byron Jones, Josh Stoltz, and Hunter Peach. They're in your top 12. The objective, if you're trying to get in without having to win a race, be your top 12. And that is where you'll find some of those drivers. And then it gets a little bit tighter the further down you go. 13 through 16, those are your wild card spots. If you're outside the top 12, a race win gets you into one of those top 4 spots, especially if you're outside the top 16. Thankfully, through the first 3 races, all 3 race winners are in the top 12. But that could change when you look at someone further down the order. Callie Height right now is currently 13th. Her best points position in HTL Cup Series history. See if that sticks. Pacey Wygant missed out last week at Willow Springs. Brady Smith filled in for him. Steven Overstat, short track ace, could excel here at Kern. Cal Taub in 16th, that final spot in the wild card. And then it shuffles down the further down you go. You look at Olivia Pereira, who has fallen a lot. Austin Mongold and Jeremy Braille, they're balancing out. KJ Gibney would like to have a good result here as well. Zach Apperson also someone to keep an eye on, who could have another pretty good breakout result. But it's all to play for here in California in Kern Raceway. Bakersfield, California, home of former NASCAR Cup Series champion Kevin Harvick, who owns the racetrack now. It's on his name is on the racetrack. Gotta be exciting to see how this all plays out. Some new names in the qualifying running order. And we'll show you where all of that is at right now. Dustin Hall just went top of the board for a moment. Adam Benefiel, new driver to the HTL Cup Series, not to iRacing. Giving himself a go here at Kern Raceway and currently provisional pole over Dustin Hall. Josh Susie, 3rd fastest. We got one driver running lap times at the moment, and it's none other than Austin Mongold. With about a minute and change left to go in qualifying. Only a couple drivers have yet to set qualifying times. Olivia Pereira, Josh Arnold, and Mongold on your screen. We'll see where he shakes out this first lap. He's got 2. Unusually, for an oval race in HTL, you get 2 laps on short ovals. Richmond will be the same way in a few weeks. Mongold's first lap only good enough for 34th. Crossed our finish line. 2nd lap in the books for Mongold, the Virginia native. Goes top 10, 7th fastest. Good stuff there for Austin Mongold. He has been a qualifying ace in HTL recently. Just trying to get those results to pan over into race trim. And here's Kern Raceway. A little bit of information here going into this half-mile racetrack here in Bakersfield, as we mentioned before. Banking in the corners, 12 to 14 degrees. Progressive banking here at Kern. First time HTL's ever been here. Well, technically you have 4 races tonight. 2 heats, a last chance qualifier, and then the 90-lap main event, which is going to be 20 drivers in total in that main, is going to be how this all plays out. So everyone's going to be able to race for a little bit of something. As we get ready to go racing here, and Mongold being in 7th will be in dual heat 1, I should say here. Similar to how the Daytona duels are, where odd numbers make up the first heat, even numbers make up the second heat. That is how this is playing out here in real time. In fact, we'll go over the full starting grid for what you're going to see here in Heat 1. Adam Benefield, we saw him qualify pole position there. It looks like he is in the 22. He's listed at 35, but he's in the 22 for Gary Donaldson tonight. Dustin Hall alongside him in row number 1. Row number 2, as we mentioned, this is actually going to show... I'll correct that, because it's only going to show the full running order from qualifying, not the heat results there. So we'll just go off the tower. All right, so it's Benefield and Susie in row 1. Feebster Mongold row 2 is going to be how that plays out as you see the pace laps begin. Thompson and Gaiman in row 3. Bryn Roberts and Dale Markowski in row 4. Patrick Oberstadt, Randy Payne make up row 5 ahead of Josh Stolzen, Zach Meredith. Hunter Peach, Cody Pinnell, row 7. Blake Galloway, Dean Clavitt, row 8. Row 9, Tucker Sawyer and Angel Santiago, Ross Baxter and Olivia Pereira in row 10 here tonight as the field gets ready to roll. You see 40 laps in the heats. Pretty complimentary there. And they kind of walk through everything here. So the heats, 8 cars advance. That's 16 cars total. The last chance qualifiers we mentioned before will end up with 4 people advancing. Pace car pulls in. The first heat of the night goes green. And again, 40 laps, wheel spin. That was behind Mongold. But they keep it all going in the right direction. Benefield filling in for Gary Donaldson. And leading the way right now in that 22 car. And whoa, trouble for Benefield. Single car spin, caution comes out. And a little bit of chaos further behind. That was Zach Meredith and Dale Markowski. Also pointed the wrong direction. So we'll take a look here at what happened on that opening lap, or that opening caution. And it is with the 22 of Benefield. A little bit of a bump and run. Susie trying to get on through and sends Benefield into the outside wall. And you see the melee that comes up behind as Markowski and Meredith try to avoid and ran out of space. Again, it was Josh Susie trying to get to the race lead here on board with him. The Bump and run. Doesn't turn out so hot. The 22. Steele Markowski there in the 16th spot. Ahead of Benefiel. First caution of the night here on lap number 7. Get ready to go back racing. It will be Josh Susie, Kevin Feemster at the front of the field for this restart coming up. And then you have Austin Mongold and Bren Roberts, last week's race winner in Willow Springs in row 2. Green flag flies for the first restart of the night. All right, so I believe we're back. We had a pretty big blip on our internet connection, so thanks Spectrum for all of that. Bear with us for 1 second as we try to get everything reset here. Again, glad you're still with us. Hopefully you're all still with us here. Trying to get everything diagnosed here while we're on the ground. For those that are watching, please let us know that you're still there. We are getting iRacing reconnected here after a very interesting turn of events. So again, bear with us. Not how we wanted to start off the night here in Kern, but Spectrum with other plans. Unfortunately. Again, trying to get everything reconnected and so we can get back into iRacing here, so bear with us for a hot moment. And we will get all of that up and running once again as soon as we can. Again, we were in heat number 1. Josh Susie and Kevin Feemster had just grabbed the lead of that heat. So again, trying to get all this reset here. Looks like it's about to come back in for us in a moment. And we're under caution, it looks like, for the second time. Actually getting ready for our second restart, so we'll go ahead and pull this all back in. See if we can pull iRacing back up. There we go. A little bit of work being done. And there we go, a little bit of trouble. That's the 43 of Dean Clavitt. That went for a little bit of a spin, and there it goes, the 96 of Pereira. And that could have been teammate on teammate controversy there. And caution comes out for a third time tonight. We missed the second caution, so we do apologize. Just trying to get everything back up and running here after that outage took everything down for 2 minutes. We get things back up and running here all the way with our overlays. Again, third caution of the night. The answer to that question is yes. We do have everything back up and running now. Cool. And this one, we do have a bit of a replay for. So let's go ahead and go into it. This is with Olivia Pereira, and really starts well up ahead. This starts, realistically, you're looking at the 43 at Clava here in the epicenter of it all. It starts ahead of him. Looks like with Mongol, the 29. So go ahead and back it up here to that restart. And that's Bailey Thompson in the middle. And it looks like that is 61 of Josh Gaiman on the inside lane. Thompson slots up. May have gotten a little bit of help from Blake Galloway. And then you see Pereira comes across the nose of Benefiel, who is getting a culture shock in that 22 car. Cars on pit lane, Clavet and Pereira, Cody Pinnell also down several laps at this point as we approach halfway in stage one. So let's reset and try again here in Bakersfield. Ready for our third restart of the night. And away we go. Susie and Feimster at the front. 3 wide already. That's a car far to the outside lane. That is Josh Gaiman, the 61. Everyone trying to make some moves happen side by side. Gaiman and Thompson battling for that 5th spot. Gaiman holds on to it, trying to get around now Markowski. As Josh Stoltz, the 95, battles his teammate and Tucker Sawyer there for 7. Car spun further back. Baxter backwards in the fence. Cautions out for the 4th time. And this is the short track racing that we are too familiar with. The hope and the intention is that the heat racing would trim down on the cautions. I don't think that has worked so far tonight. 4 cautions and 22 laps is not a good omen. And this is what happened to Ross Baxter. Spun off the nose of Randy Payne pretty quickly there out of turn 4. Let's take another look at it here. Around the outside. Payne just drives up into him. And around he goes. So work being done now on Baxter's machine. Also, Josh Susie leads here still. Car getting the free pass. That is Cody Pinnell, who is the only car down a lap at the moment. He was down 5, now down 4. So fourth caution of the night here in Heat 1. And pulling up on my screen, each heat, 40 laps. Last chance qualifier is 30 laps. We'll set the final 4 spots in the main event, which is 90. Pit stops for fuel, not expected here tonight. And we're taking a little bit of a gamble here in Kern, in Bakersfield, California. It has been a rough race so far in the early going. A lot of time to play with here on the West Coast. Josh Susie, Kevin Feemster, Patrick Overstapp, Bryn Roberts, your top 4 for this 4th restart of the night on lap 27. Green flag flies, and away we go. Everyone pushes their way through into turn 3. Trouble further back. That was a slide by Tucker Sawyer, who spun around, and this is a big one. Number 5 of the night, and it's a pretty huge crash. Byron Jones involved, Randy Payne, Cody Pennell, Angel Santiago, and others all involved in this. Ross Baxter involved again. Hunter Peach involved. And it looks like Santiago's heat is done. Fifth caution in less than 30 laps. And this is where it starts. Tucker Sawyer spun wrong way around. And we'll actually have to go up high above here and get a good look here. 3 wide, that is Meredith to the inside of Galloway. And Sawyer on the right-hand side. Meredith sends it in a little deep. Maybe got a little bit of help from Benefiel. Galloway gets turned a little bit by Meredith, who sends it in too deep. And the 91 trying to get out of the way. I don't think that anyone ever makes contact. Pereira, not so lucky. And as has been too often the times the case for the Ascent Racing cars, friendly fire, drawing a caution. But it's all the calamity, everyone trying to avoid that really cascades across the front straightaway. You got Payne, you got Peach the wrong way. Baxter gets hit by his teammate, and Cody Pennell. You saw Byron Jones, the first one to go around outside the Ascent cars. Everyone's struggling here in Kern Raceway. A lot of people's first times here in Bakersfield. There's not a lot of short track aces that kind of jump out to me in this field. Patrick Overstapp, Josh Gaiman. Those are 2 short track aces that stick out to me. Those are the only 2 that really kind of stick out in this field as being short track aces. A decent chunk of them are in Heat 2. But you have your genuine, the genuine stars of the field as far as in Heat 1 are all at the front. Susie, Gaiman, Bryn Roberts are all top 5 there. Bailey Thompson, we know Bailey Thompson has the ability to have that, to show that display of speed. Right now, she's sitting in 7th. Zach Meredith trying to avoid the calamity. He's up in 10th now. So everyone's fighting a little bit of something here, but also trying to get into the top 8. That's where everyone wants to be, is top 8 right now, because that's what gets you into the main event here tonight. Green flag flies for the 5th restart tonight. Even restart there between Susie and Patrick Overstapp, the 24 and the 88. And Overstapp's actually going to get the advantage out of turn 2. Still side by side, these 2 go. Chevrolet versus Toyota. Overstapp leads that lap. And drives to the racetrack and cautions out again. And it's Hunter Peach. Wrong way round again. 2nd time in a row 4-car 20. We'll take a look at what happened here with Hunter Peach. This is coming out of turn 4, and he just loops it on his own, trying to avoid running into Ross Baxter, the 38. Avoids the 8 of Cody Pennell. It's a soft caution to throw, but thrown anyway, and Peach avoids additional damage. It does give Randy Payne a lap back here, so we'll end up only 1 lap down. See Peach at the very back of the field. Randy Payne, I believe, going to get that free pass. And there he goes. So the question I've got in all of this is, do we have green-white checkers? I guess is the big-time question here. It's 5 laps to go right now. We only have about, looks like an hour 32 total to try to get this in. Oh, there we go. Time's running now. We only have 1:10. We have 1 minute and 10 seconds to try to run as many laps as possible here before the time expires. Lights on the pace car still on. I don't think we're going to get back green here in Heat 1. I think top 8 is settled. Patrick Oberstadt, Josh Soucy, Josh Gaiman, Kevin Feemster, Josh Stoltz, Brendan Roberts, Bailey Thompson, and Adam Benefiel in your top 8. I think is how this heat's going to come to a close. Unless the timer just went back up. Lights going out, so I think we might get one chance at getting this race to end under green. But this is now a timed race. Oberstadt had the race lead over Soucy when the caution came out, so we'll see how that plays out. Pace car is in, green flag flies, and away we go. Soucy got a good launch down the outside lane. Oberstadt almost drove clear of the 24. Spin for the behinds. White flag is out here for the first time, presented by Southern Cleaning Company. Car in the fence for the behind, Byron Jones. We stay green. This is a battle for pole position in the main event, and it will be Patrick Oberstadt that grabs the win in Heat 1. Oberstadt, Soucy, Gaiman, Feemster, Stoltz, Roberts, Benefiel, and Bailey Thompson, your top 8 on that restart, stayed top 8, but changed positions. Bailey Thompson will start this race in the main event, 15th. Wild, wild stuff. And we will move right on along to Heat 2. Time is of the essence. We will show an old style here, since we don't have the ability to on our traditional graphics, to show you the full results in Heat number 1. And there you go. That's Patrick Oberstadt over Josh Soucy. A lot of cars in that group put together. "40 laps, we'll try again here in duel number 2. Dustin Hall, Pacey Wygant will lead the field to green. As we get ready to go racing here. Dustin Hall, Pacey Wygant, Lily Sharp, Shad Spotsworth, Elias Flores, Stephen Oberstadt. Keep an eye on the number 3. He should be good here. Davis Booth Jr., Byron Jones, row 4. Eli Sasek, Chris Fleming, row 5. Mark Kissenweather, Jeremy Braille, row 6. Row 7, Zach Apson and Alfred Denny. Callie Height and Blake Henderson, row 8. Row 9, KJ Gibney and Richard Odie. And row 10, Matt Vorndren and Josh Arnold. Go racing here for the second time tonight. Heat 1 was pretty chaotic, all things considered. We'll see how Heat 2 goes. Also 20 cars in this heat. Everyone trying to go for the top 8 to make it into the main event automatically. Everyone that does not finish top 8 has to go through the last chance qualifier. The top 4 finishers there move on. Green flag flies, and away we go. Still side by side, but also still green at the moment. I think everyone learned a lot from what they saw in Heat 1. Through the parade of Heat 1, we have a race in Heat 2. Lily Sharp doing well. For those familiar, Lily Sharp should do well. Now back full-time in the 19 car. We'll touch up on the changes at NFG Motorsports in a moment. Both of those changes in this heat. Lily Sharp right now in 3rd. Remember, first win on ABN television was in the ABN Champ Car World Series at Milwaukee. Does really good across the board at short ovals, flat ovals. All in her wheelhouse, and we're seeing that here as well. Pacey Wygant and Dustin Hall, no slouch. Neither is Shad Spotsworth behind her. But she is holding her ground pretty well. Started this race in 3rd, has held 3rd place, as Wygant and Hall swap places for the race lead early on. Stephen Oberstadt letting the race come to him a little bit. He's battling with Byron Jones and Mark Kissenweather behind him and trying to chase down the 99 of Flores, who gives him that real estate. Remember, top 8 gets through. Kissenweather right now in that last spot. But that could change. We are seeing some interesting racing come through, though. In this second heat, as everyone learns and evolves and adapts. Here's 60 of Byron Jones. In the group. The person I called out being in the 60 was actually the 90 of Angel Santiago in Heat 1. So my apologies there. Byron Jones doing a fantastic job trying to get coast-to-coast 1 car into the top 20 for this main event. Caution's out for the first time, and it is the 87 of Callie Height, who was spun wrong way round through turn 4. And we'll take a look at it here. Any help from the 12 of Josh Arnold? Absolutely. Callie was running in 14th at that moment. And now we'll be down in the 20th and last position, but no damage, thankfully, for the 87. Despite the contact with Josh Arnold. And now be the first caution of the night in Heat 2. 6 caution total. So your top of the board is going to be Pacey Wygent. Dustin Hall giving that spot back, maybe. Unless he was able to race it back. It looks like he was able to get it back manually on the racetrack here. So Dustin Hall back out front. Tombstone Motorsports ahead of Pacey Wygent. Chad Swatsworth in 3rd. Willie Sharp in 4th. And then Elias Flores, the California native, a little bit closer to home here in Bakersfield. Steven Oberstadt in the top 6. Byron Jones in 7th. And Mark Kissenweather, last season's Rookie of the Year, currently sitting in the last transfer spot in 8th. Just outside the transfer spot, David Smeal Jr. in 9th for NFG Motorsports. His return, him and Josh Gaiman both back. After previously expected to leave at the end of last season, they did so. And now back, albeit on different teams altogether. Smeal reuniting with Josh Susi. Gaiman on his own, racing with Cali Heights' team from Freya Motorsports. And Eli Sasek 10th on the outside, row 5. That's great to go back racing here. So to kind of explain the NFG situation, 2 new drivers in the 19 to 54. Those cars have been around all season. Following the suspension of Alfredo Hidalgo for unsportsmanlike conduct and abusive language, removed from the team. Lily Sharp, who was in the 19 car last season, back in the 19. Pretty easy move back there. Tyler Ratliff, as a result, also for results that stemmed following the suspension at Hidalgo. Tyler Ratliff also out of the 54 car, and in came David Smeal Jr. to fill in that 54 here this season. He was filling in as a spotter for KJ Gibney, but now back on the racetrack and trying to get in to the top 8 here in Kern as we go back racing. So drama early, but it's been off the track more than on it for that team, who are looking to once again contend for championships with Hunter Peach, Josh Susi, who we saw do well in Heat 1. And now you have Sharp running full-time again and running well, and David Smeal Jr. getting his feet back into it in that 54 car from Chevy to Toyota for him. Still side by side, it is Swatsworth and Sharp in 3rd. Dustin Hall leads the way, though, and doing a great job of it here at the moment. On lap 19 now. Swatsworth tried to clear Sharp, couldn't do so. But Sharp struggling now. A little bit of contact there, 3 wides. Steven Oberstadt, Mark Kissenweather, Lily Sharp. Sharp falling backwards all of a sudden. Didn't restart well. And now it's the Ascent cars on the attack. Right now, Sharp still safely in the top 8, but that could change as this race goes along. Again, we just got to the halfway point. Sharp showing that she very much prefers the bottom of the racetrack. Struggled without it. Now back below the behind the 3 car, Steven Oberstadt, and on that white line through the corners. Stabilized and stopped the bleeding. Davis Smeal Jr., first one out at the moment. Has to try to find a way around Elias Flores or Eli Sasek. But Byron Jones in the same boat. And again, if you're 9th on down, you end up in the last chance qualifier that comes up after this. Pull that graphic back up bottom of your screen. Last chance qualifier, 30 laps. Expecting more chaos in that than what we've had here in Heat 2. And in the main, which we're expecting to be a pretty good shootout based on the cars we know that are in that race so far. Going to be joined by 8 fantastic drivers here. Smeal around Sasic on the bottom of the racetrack right now, trying everything he can to get into the main event. Alfred Denny's had an incident. He is on his own at the back and rolling in 20th. And oh, trouble again, trying to get that car going. This could be another caution, and he's going to tow before it happens. So Denny will automatically accept that he's going to the last chance shootout and avoided a second yellow, and it comes out anyway. And it's teammates involved here. Teammates to Alfred Denny. That's Blake Henderson and Zach Apperson both around. The 4 and the 25, they were not in a transfer spot. They were outside the top 10. We might be back, potentially. Unfortunately, more connection issues with Spectrum at the moment, so we have to reset the lobby again on our end and try to reestablish connection again. Again, we apologize if we wish that we were. All right, reconnection. It looks like they've said that we are reconnected again as we try to get things up and running here for Heat 2. Again, we apologize for the technical issues with Spectrum, our ISP here at ABN Studios. We wish we had a better option. Unfortunately, we do not. And we've not really gotten any information from Spectrum as to why the issues are ongoing, so bear with us. Here we go. And we come back, and it is a caution right away, and it is for Mark Kissenweather, who we saw stopped stationary. We're going to pull up iRacing once more in just a moment, once we make sure that everything is up and running on all of our overlays. But not great, obviously, all things considered here. All right, so you can hear this. You can hear the sounds. Let's put together the picture. I mean, unfortunately, again, we don't have a replay of the Mark Kissenweather spin. I wish we did. Unfortunately, we don't. We just saw him stationary at the end. But we do know that that's how the third caution of the night came out. We were trying to look at the replay between Henderson and Apperson, their spin, that we unfortunately don't get to look at now because of the issues with Spectrum. But we do have live pictures now. Hopefully, we've put those connection issues behind us here. Fingers crossed that's the case. It is Dustin Hall and Pacey Wygant top of the board at the moment in Heat 1. Lily Sharp, Chad Swatsworth, Stephen Oberstadt, David Smith Jr., Elias Flores, Eli Sasic are in your transfer spots here in Heat 2. Byron Jones and Josh Arnold, the first two cars out of those transfer spots right now. Cali Heights made her way back up to 12th after spinning earlier and dropping down to 20th. But again, everyone 9th and below goes to the last chance qualifier, which is going to be chaotic, without a doubt. We'll see how it plays out here in heat number 2. Should be plenty of time to get these last 6 laps across the line. Green flag flies, away we go. Timer top of your screen, top left. That's how much time is left in the heat in case we need that time, and we're going to need it. Huge crash. That is KJ Gibney, the 31. Nose of that car destroyed. And I believe that is Heat 2 done and dusted for the 31. It is. Nasty crash there. And we'll take a look. Full speed on this restart. KJ Gibney, Massachusetts. You're going to see it kind of happens quickly here. It gets turned by Odie. Ooh, hard hit. Apperson involved in that. Braille involved in that as well. That is Heat 2 done and dusted for Gibney, as Hall now leads the way. Dustin Hall leads. And I believe same thing goes here in Heat 2. We're going to have one chance to finish this race under green, I do believe. Eight cautions total so far tonight here in Bakersfield. As we get ready to double up and go one more time here in California in Heat 2. Last chance qualifier comes up after this, and then the 90-lap main. Do want to remind you, upcoming HTL races, it goes from very short oval to super speedway, Talladega next Monday for the Coulter's Cards 350. Then we have Michigan October 20th. Second short track of the season at Richmond October 27th. So we're ready to go back racing here in heat number 2. Green flag, and we're under caution immediately. Caution behind. And that will kill heat 2. And I'm not entirely sure who it was that spun there. I believe it might have been Matt Vorndren. It was. 81 was involved in that. And we'll show you what happened here. Matt Vorndren, 81 on your screen. Looks like wheel spin here pretty quickly. Grab a better camera angle. This is 7th row on back. Oh, wheel spin for Henderson in the 25. That Arcane car. Collecting the 2 of Kissenweather, 81. I believe tagged the 74 for good measure. And Vorndren wrong way around. Henderson will ride on board with him. So you get an idea of exactly how difficult this was for him. Sun glaring off in the distance. Yeah, just dropped it in first gear. Gets hit just about from every angle. But yeah, just tried to gas it up a little too much and nowhere to go. And the wheel spin will make you pay. We are well beyond the 40 laps permitted in regulation here for this heat. I believe we're in standard green white checker protocol here. So we'll see how this plays out. In fairness, we had a lot more time to play with in Heat 2 than we did in Heat 1 because they had more cautions. But this is now our 4th yellow in Heat 2. As we try to go for it one more time. Hall and Wygant lead the way, and they get off to a great start. But the question's never been about them. It's been about those behind. Side by side, they both go, roaring through 3 and 4. White flag in the stage, second time, presented by Southern Cleaning Company. Trouble behind, it looks like, as well. And it is Trouble Flores, and more trouble behind. Everyone's scrambling for positions. We focus on the leader for Heat 2, trying to get the win of Heat 2. It's going to be Dustin Hall. Wygant, Swatsworth, Sharp, Oberstadt, Jones, Sasek, and Henderson end up in your transfer spots for the main event. I believe that was a little bit of retaliation further back. Not sure by who. But we will go ahead and grab your starting group for the consolation here. And it's going to be a lot of cars. Blake Henderson, from causing that last caution to somehow surviving the chaos to get into the transfer spots, will not have to deal with this. 24 cars do. And it starts with Dean Clavitt and David Spio Jr. They finished 9th in their heats. I'm so used to calling them duels for Daytona. So far away from that. With the last chance qualifier, there you're looking at Dean Clavitt and David Spio Jr. front and center. And then Tucker Sawyer, Richard Odie, they finished 10th in their heats. Zach Meredith, Chris Fleming, Olivia Pereira, Mark Kissenweather, Austin Mongol, Josh Arnold are your top 10. Top 4 make it in from the last chance qualifier. So Richard Odie's already going to be on the hot seat. For them, the order: Blake Galloway, Elias Flores in row 6, Randy Payne, Callie Height, row 7, Ross Baxter, Zach Apperson, row 8, row 9, Cody Pinnell, Matt Vorndren, row 10 is where you'll find Angel Santiago and KJ Gibney, Hunter Peach, Alfred Denny, row 11, Dale Markowski in row 12. Zach Apperson starting for pit lane. He is expecting what we're expecting, and that is carnage here tonight in this event. Packed parking lot, packed grandstands here at Kern County Raceway. Third race of the night, last chance qualifier. We'll have a chance to actually reflect on how things are going to look for this main event once we get there in time. For those tuning in, we're glad you're with us here for Monday night. Special moment in racing, doing something different here. It has not helped the caution situation. We've had 9 so far tonight. but the races have been short enough that it's been palatable. So this still might have been a good call by HTL, giving it a shot here. It is Clavitt and Smeal front and center in the field, leading them to green, 24 cars. And that green flag flies. Away we go. In trouble immediately. Car spun around Fleming. And under yellow immediately. As the field slows down. It is Chris Fleming that takes the bite out of the wall. And Apperson doesn't even go a lap down here. Let's take a look at what happened. Chris Fleming was up in the top group. Does he get assistance in going around? AB in slow motion on your screen. As they approach the green flag, Fleming third in line here, right on the bumper of the 78 Odie. Yeah, gonna get a little bit of help from the two of Kissenweather. Everyone trying to jump the start before the restart zone. And unfortunately, Fleming in the middle of that accordion. Callie Height takes a bite out of the wall as well. You see the 87. Gibney gets a piece of it for good measure. So I'm unhappy. If you're not in this race, you're a happy camper. If you're in this race, you're likely not happy. And that's not going to help the situation at all. Right now, it is easy going if you're in the top four right now, especially if you're the front two. Dean Clavitt, Dale Smith Jr., you have control of your own destiny at this point. It's those behind. You look at Sawyer, look at Odie, that really do not feel comfy right now. So 10th caution of the night. Coming to our 10th restart of the night. Apperson was stuck behind the pace car for a moment, but will not go a lap down, rejoins the tail end of the field because he started from the pit lane. And unfortunately, you can only start from the pit lane once. So he has to be a part of the pack here this go-around. I like the strategy, though. You know there's going to be carnage. Just try to avoid it. Clavitt and Smeal, front of the field once again. And the green flag flies. Away we go. Smeal got a way better launch than Clavitt that time, but Clavitt, having the inside lane, survives. A little bit of smoke. That was Markowski that had a little bit of a drift. And caution's out second time tonight. And it's further back. KJ Gibney and Angel Santiago. There is Santiago, the 90. Looks like Ross Baxter also involved a little bit here. Let's take a look at what happened. Oh. Just pops loose. 100 piece number for him to go, and whoa. That's what happened to KJ Gibney. He went for a wild tumble along the pit wall. That was wild. I'll look from a different angle. Almost up and over that pit wall altogether. And I think that was Apperson involved in that. On board is Apperson. And when he's 100% involved in this, you see nowhere for him to go. No damage. He watched it happen, but he was able to avoid it. Great job for Apperson. On board with Gibney as he goes for a wild ride. Tries to avoid it. Nowhere for him to go. Impressively, they all stayed out on this restart. Second one of the last chance qualifier, 11th overall coming up. Again, top 4 makes it in to the last chance qualifier. For those split screening us and Monday Night Football, you're not missing a whole lot right now. It is Kansas City versus Jacksonville. Kansas City currently up 14-7 as expected right now in that game as it sits. Score is currently active running at the bottom of your screen as they have been all night, showing you sports from around the world. As we get ready to go racing once again. Second restart of the last chance qualifier underway. And trouble, Odie. Odie in the fence. And I believe that's a caution again, it is. 12th of the night, Richard Odie. And that was the concern that was had if you were in one of those top 4 spots, is getting moved quite like that. And that is exactly what happened to Richard Odie. And he gets sent. That is by the 2 of Kissenweather, who has been very frustrated tonight. Just sent it 3 wide and spins the 78 around. Pereira tries to avoid, nothing really that she can do in that situation. And Odie comes to a stop on the outside wall. He is running. All 24 cars in this last chance qualifier are still running. But he is now dead last and 24th. For those that don't make the top 4 and don't make the main event, points are scored basically how you would in a normal HTL race. If you're 5th place in this race, you basically score 21st place points, and then it goes all the way down. If you're 24th, you will score 40th place points. This is sort of how that normally would work. Over under 6.5 cautions in this race alone. The last chance qualifier. We're on number 3. I'll take the over. Remember, this is the group of cars that could not... Heat 1, the chaos group of the bunch, were the group that couldn't go green 1 lap in Heat 1. And these are a lot of the drivers that did not make it through from that first heat. These are the ones that were outside the top 8. On top of that, you have those that did not make it through Heat 2 because of the calamity at the end of that heat. So everyone mad, everyone frustrated, everyone losing patience, but also this is the field that typically just aren't as good at short ovals. And unfortunately, you don't look at a lot of these drivers in this group outside of Meredith and Kissenweather and say, championship contender. Right now, Meredith in that 4th spot. The hot seat is in that 17 and the 2. Green flag flies once again. Three wide. Kissenweather went to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to force it around. Caution. 4th one. And you're noticing The flag on our overlay is not even going from yellow to green, it's just staying yellow. It is broken. We are now on caution number... This is caution number 4 on the night. In the last chance qualifier, we are on caution 13 on the night. That was all behind the top 5, though. Lydia Pereira involved in that. Looks like Callie Height also involved. And we'll grab a better look. And this is a bit of an idea as to what happened here. AB in slow motion, quarter speed. Callie Height racing. That's with the 18 of Chris Fleming. And Callie Height just spins on her own. Clips the 80 Cody Pinnell. Gets clobbered by Dale Markowski. I'm not sure what happened to Olivia Pereira. Grab a better look at that from a different perspective. Oh, Pereira spun independently of everything. And didn't make contact with anybody, so that's not the end of the world. So we're at 13 cautions on the night, 4th caution of the last chance qualifier. Front 2 have not changed. Dean Clavitt, Davis Meal Jr., your top 2. Mark Kissenweather, his bold 3-wide pass worked a little bit. He's 4th alongside Tucker Sawyer, Austin Mongo, and Zach Meredith in row 3 behind, trying to get into the top 4. If you think for a moment that we're done with the pushing and shoving, you are sadly mistaken. 4th restart in last chance qualifier, 13th tonight. Green flag flies, and Smeal takes advantage of wheel spin by Clavitt to grab the race lead. Smeal said, "Thank you, I'll take that." And here comes Kissenweather trying to scamper away to safety. Clavitt now in the swarm, 3rd in line here. A little bit of a lockup further back. That was Fleming. And there's more trouble. Car spun around, and caution once again, 5th time in the last chance qualifier. It's Randy Payne and Zach Apperson. And Randy Payne resets. His night is done. This has been a very slow crawl of a last chance qualifier, and we were expecting it to be so. This was not out of the realm of expectation. Let's see what happened. Lock up there, I believe. Yeah, that was Fleming. Payne checked up. Apperson didn't see it. And unfortunately, it means day done for Randy Payne. I didn't see a lot of damage on that 91 car unless something else happened there. But Randy Payne is officially done for the night. And more likely so is Callie Height, who is in pit lane for damage. So 5th caution in the last chance qualifier. The over-under placed by our live viewers watching on Twitch. Put the over-under at 6.5. I responded saying, if you don't take the over on this, you're insane. If you don't think that this field can fit at least 2 more cautions into 5 laps, you are mistaken. But it's okay, because we have the main event coming up, 90 laps, and the solid drivers are all in that one. And I am going to dunk on this field a little bit, because it's a little bit absurd to be at 17 cautions in less than 100 laps run. As has typically been the case for a lot of drivers in this field, they don't know how to drive within their means. Again, no knock to Smeal. Smeal in this race because he got taken out on the last lap in Heat 2. And he's actually being moved to the back of the field, I think, for jump starting. I have to double check and look here, but I think for jump starting. And yep, just got confirmation for jumping the start on that last restart. He moves to the back of the field, and that changes a lot. The green flag flies this time, and away we go. Car in the fence further back. Several cars in the fence further back. Two laps to go. Can we see the white flag without another yellow? That is the question. Lock up there by Sawyer as he battles with Clavitt. Clavitt in the fence. Car spun. We are going to have a caution. It is going to come out here, and it's going to be several cars involved. That is Baxter, that is Gibney, and that is Santiago. And that is our sixth caution. No. They're saying we're still racing. They did not throw the yellow. Wow. Did not throw the yellow. Car stationary on the racetrack. Kissenweather leads and wins in the last chance qualifier over Clavitt, Sawyer, and Matt Vorndren, who wrecks with Meredith across the line in what was an absolute cluster of a last chance qualifier. That was wild. A slam dunk caution, 3 cars stopped. And instead of a caution, we get the white flag. Kissenweather makes it through, mercifully, to this last chance qualifier. And now we get to catch our collective breaths here in Bakersfield as the sun sets lower and lower on the horizon. Wild show here in Kern Raceway. 14 cautions in the first 3 heats to set up this 90-lap main. Wild situations all throughout this heat. 20 cars in this main event, though. And we'll talk about the starting grid in a moment. That'll be important. The standings, we'll pull them up again. Very important to remember going into this race. There's 3 drivers that had a race win. Brendan Roberts, the most recent, winning at Willow Springs last Monday. Shad Swatsworth won the Daytona 500. Patrick Oberstadt won in Las Vegas. And then you look at the drivers in this top 12. You look at Tucker Sawyer, who's in the main event, has a chance to get some really good points. Sasick, I believe, also in this main event. Would have to double check here. I may be mistaken on that. I don't know what all Ascent cars made it in and didn't make it in. So bear with me. Matt Vorndren did make it in. Was the last spot into the main event here. So he's got a chance to really make up some points. Mark Kissenweather, we saw him win the last chance qualifier. He's got a chance to go for some points. Josh Susi, he made it through in the first 2 heats. That wasn't a question. Cody Pennell also out. Did not make it through into the main event here. Byron Jones made it through. Josh Stoltz did not, I don't believe. Hunter Peach did not. And you see, that's a lot of the top, that's almost half the top 12 that did not make it in to this this main event tonight, so they're not going to get a good chance at points here. They're also not going to get stage points out of this either. Further down, Kelly Height didn't make it in. Casey Wygen made it in safely in duel 2, in the second heat. Excuse me. Steven Overstat made it through. Kyle Taub, not present tonight. Tyler Ratliff, Alfredo Hidalgo, we talked about them no longer being racing with NFG. They've been replaced by Lily Sharp and Davis Muir Jr. Both of them are in the main event. Sorry, Davis Muir Jr. not in the main event because of that penalty at the end of the last chance qualifier. Sharp is in, though, in the 19 car. KJ Gibney having a night to forget. Austin Mongold having a night to forget. Jeremy Braille, Olivia Pereira, Zach Apperson. A lot of these drivers not making it in. It shakes up what this field's going to look like going into Talladega next Monday, and then Talladega obviously itself will shake up the field even more. Last practice going on right now here in Bakersfield, so we'll take the time for the first time tonight to step aside for a small break and have a word from one of the sponsors of the HTL Cup Series. Coming up here, the main event from Bakersfield. Continuing here on ABN, the HTL Cup Series, as we grab some refreshment. You can hear the opening of an energy drink because we're going to need it tonight for 90 laps here in Bakersfield, California, Kern Raceway. For the first time hosting the HTL Cup Series, you see the expansive look. Really great view here from outside the dirt oval, other side of the facility. A lot of racetrack here at Kern. As warm-up comes to a close. "20 drivers in this main event here tonight. We went from the most cars we saw in the last chance qualifier to the best 20. It'll be Patrick Oberstadt and Dustin Hall front and center of the field here, getting ready for this. And let's see if we can grab a look at the starting grid here tonight. And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get anything from that, unfortunately. So we'll have to do it again the old-fashioned way, and that is from the scoreboard on the side of your screen. Patrick Oberstadt and Dustin Hall will lead the field to green. Apologize for that. Coughed on air for some reason. Patrick Oberstadt and Dustin Hall front of the field. Josh Susie and Casey Wygen in row 2. Josh Gaiman, Chad Swatsworth in row 3. You'll notice inside lane is heat 1. Outside lane is heat 2. Row 4, Kevin Feemster and Lily Sharp. Josh Stoltz, Steven Oberstadt in row 5. Bren Roberts and Byron Jones, row 6. Adam Benefiel alongside Eli Sasick as the field gets ready to roll once again. Main event coming up here with plenty of time to spare, or so we think. Benefiel and Sasick in row 7, row 8, Billy Thompson and Blake Henderson. Row 9, Mark Kissenweather and Dean Clavitt, Tucker Sawyer and Matt Vorndren in row 10. It's going to be a long night. But we're glad you're with us for the HTL Cup Series here in Bakersfield. 90-lap main event. In case you missed it earlier, there is a stage middle of the race, lap 45. No green flag pit stops expected. Pit window, you are well good. Fuel mileage-wise, 120 to 130 laps. Everybody should be safe. The question is, how many laps can we run before we get a caution? We've had 14 tonight through the heat races themselves. That is 4.6 cautions a race. And those were 40 laps or shorter. So, as we get ready to go racing once again, green flag flies and away we go. Racing in the main event tonight. And already trouble. Caution out. Josh Susie and Dustin Hall both around backwards. Oberstadt got a good start. The outside lane did not. And bad omen. 15th caution of the night. Here's what happened. This is Dustin Hall and Josh Susie, not in the same lane. So this is, I think, Dustin Hall getting wheel spin, trying to start in first gear here. I would hazard a guess. Yeah. Wheel spin in first gear. Clobbers the 24 of Susie. Almost took out Patrick Oberstadt as well. Thankfully, everyone else was pretty cognizant of what was going on and avoided making that situation worse. But that's two of your contenders in this race now at the back of the field with damage and in trouble early. You see Susie rolling out of pit lane already. As the field rolls around, start-finish line up ahead. Patrick Oberstadt and Josh Gaiman will now be the front of the field for our 16th restart of the night. I misstated earlier, we're on the 15th caution of the night. Not the 16th. Semantics, but accurate. Accuracy is important here at ABM. Car still in pit lane. Josh Susie, Dustin Hall. And that'll shake up the top six pretty quickly here. Dustin Hall back on the racetrack. Laps down now. 2 laps down. Josh Susie 1 lap down as things stand right now. Green flag will fly. Here to finish lap 5 and 90. 15th restart of the night. Underway. Susie's trying to stay 1 lap down. Just exited pit lane. But he did not catch up to the field. No wheel spin there on that restart. And caution's out. Further back, Henderson. That arcane car. Not having the greatest luck here in California. And here's why. Atlanta zone. A little bit of a bump and run. Was that Thompson? No damage, thankfully, for the 25, but was that Thompson? Was that team-on-teammate battle? Friendly fire? Take a look. No? Henderson just, I think, overdrove. Teammates there all together, the 22, the 25, and the 27. I don't think Thompson got into the 25 Henderson at all. We'll grab a look just to make sure we're right on board with Thompson here. And we'll back it up just to be safe. On board with 27 to Thompson. No contact, no contact. Yeah, Henderson just overdrives it. That is Not on Thompson, not on Benefield, the 22 up ahead. That is purely on the 25, just driving a little too deep. And doing a great job saving that from hitting the wall. Henderson still on lead lap. No damage on the 25 car, which is a great little omen there. It does allow Josh Susie back on lead lap as the free pass recipient. Justin Hall now the only car off the lead lap. He is 2 laps down. Yeah, short course racing has been difficult for HTL, but we go to one of their bread and butter races next week. When we go to Talladega for the Coulter's car, it's 350. Michigan after that should be a barn burner of a race there on October 20th. Richmond will be interesting. Pretty chaotic have been the races at Richmond in recent memory. But then we go to Chicago Street Course, and then Charlotte for the BFL 500 on November 10th. As the green flag flies, it is Oberstadt and Game in front and center on this restart. And away we go. Outside lane, Josh Gaiman, Casey Wygant. Inside lane to that 00. Brady Smithfield in for him last week at Willow Springs. And caution out again, and it's Byron Jones. Not so easy of a crash this time for the 60. See the nose of that car buckled down. Here's what happened to Byron Jones. Another, just over driving, locked the rear brakes up. Damage him at the front and the rear of that car. No contact there with anybody else, just locked it up. Similar to Blake Henderson. Henderson wobbled it and before spinning it. It just went all the way around for Byron Jones. So everyone playing with the brake balance here and just going a little bit too aggressive is what we're seeing early on here. And he will come down pit lane to get some of that damage taken care of. Oberstadt either faked or tried to fake or legitimately missed pit lane. Not sure which is which. We're going to say that he faked it because we don't typically see that from Oberstadt, especially here. He's one of the only drivers in this field that have raced here before. But that was peculiar because the cars behind him were coming down pit lane anyway. Not a whole lot of reason to fake it. I mean, unless he wanted to look like a nerd, I guess. I don't know. He's 16th. Blake Henderson behind him on lead lap. Josh Susie, Byron Jones. Dustin Hall gets one of his laps back. All 20 cars still rolling here. Paul Stevens sits in 16th. Patrick Oberstadt sits at the front of the field. Casey Wygant in second place, Josh Gaiman third, Chad Swatsworth in fourth. Third caution in the main event. 17th caution overall tonight. There you go. Get ready to go back racing here. All 20 cars still rolling. 19 on the lead lap from Oberstadt to Jones. Dustin Hall 1 lap down still. After that, lap 1 spin crash on the initial start. Green flag will fly. Patrick Oversted's led every lap so far, but Pacey Wygant wants to threaten that. Back racing here in Bakersfield. And Wygant out to a lead here out of turn 4. Wygant will take that race lead away. Former Truck Series champion, Pacey Wygant. And Wygant, now that he has gotten that fresh air, he is setting sail. Overstat trying to hold on to second. Battle behind, that is Josh Gaiman. Chad Swatsworth goes for a little bit of a slide and saves it. He just did what Byron Jones and Blake Henderson couldn't do. A little too aggressive, though. And in the fence, he gets put by Clavitt. Tumbled out of the top 10 to 12th. 3 wide further back. That's Roberts, middle of Benefiel and Sharp. And Sharp being mugged for positions here in the 19 car. Dropped all the way down out of the top 12. Now battling to hold on to 12. And trouble. Kissenweather stays green. But trouble for the 2 car. As it drops down to 19th place. Wygant continues to lead over Overstat and Gaiman. Gaiman trying to go for second place here. Got to the bottom of the racetrack underneath Overstat. Pushes Overstat up the racetrack just enough. And Gaiman up to second. Remember, Gaiman racing an open car for Valfreya Motorsports. Teammates now with Callie Height. And Valfreya Motorsports now has actual firepower. Overstat sitting at 30. See that brake rotors glow. The sun is set. The lights are on here in Bakersfield at Kern Raceway. We're on board of the debutant here, Adam Benefiel. Not a lot of information on him, other than he's filling in for Gary Donaldson in that 22 car tonight. And doing a good job of it. That's Kevin Feemster behind him, the 71. Sitting in that fifth spot ahead of Feemster, Brendan Roberts in 7th, Bailey Thompson 8th, Eli Sasek and Dean Clavitt your top 10 as things round out here. Remember, stage break on lap 45 will be our 18th caution overall of the night, unless we get one before then. Longest green flag run of the night is where we're at right now. And it is still less than 20 laps. Battle further back. Henderson losing a spot to Kissenweather. As is traditionally the norm, top 10 score stage points. That was also the case for the heats as well. The first two heats of the night, top 10 scored stage points. Winner of the heat won a playoff point that go towards the playoffs later this season. Those begin in 2026. Casey Wygent, though, looking pretty good. Josh Gaiman keeping him honest. Those two have walked away from Patrick Oberstadt, who has not been pressured heavily yet by Josh Stoltz or Adam Benefield, but that could change. Benefield trying to work his way around the 95 car right now. Racing further backwards as well. Clavitt and Vorndren all in the conversation right now. Still battling here. This is for the last stage point position right now between Clavitt and Vorndren. 6 laps to go in the stage. And they are gridlocked side by side, door to door. Vorndren nowhere from to go in the corners because of Sasek. But then Clavitt can't go anywhere in the front straightaway because of Sasek. Feels like Vorndren making a little bit of headway, but then Sasek drives slow into turn 1. It forces Vorndren to give it up, but here he goes. Vorndren the 10th, and he's going to look for 9th immediately. Stays on the bottom. Sasek opened the door. And Vorndren saw the opportunity and went for it. As the laps tick down here in this stage in the main event. Vorndren the 9th. Great job by the 81. Coming around to start the white flag lap in stage number 1. It's Casey Wygent and Josh Gaiman. 3.5 seconds clear of the rest of the field. They have set sail and they have said goodbye. Only for the caution to come out and lock the stage down. Casey Wygent will win stage number 1 and get ready for the second half here of the main event in Kern County Raceway. Josh Gaiman, Patrick Oberstadt, Adam Benefield, Josh Stoltz, Kevin Feemster, Bren Roberts, Bailey Thompson, Matt Vorndren, Eli Sasek score the stage points. And Casey Wygent adds a playoff point to his collection for when they begin at the top of the new year. And the field will come down and grab some tires. Everyone feeling a little bit roasty toasty on those Goodyear Eagles. And Dustin Hall will get his free pass. And we'll have all 20 cars for the first time since lap 1 on the lead lap. So stage underway here in Bakersfield. We'll step aside for a moment for a quick drink and a word from one of the sponsors for the HTL Cup Series. Welcome back, everyone, to Bakersfield, California, Kern County Raceway, hosting race 4 of the HTL Cup Series season. Wild stuff here as we get ready to go back racing to start the final stage, final stanza of the night. Here's your top 5 on your screen at the moment as things run. Pacey Wygant, Josh Gaiman, Patrick Overstat, Kevin Feemster, and Bren Roberts will be your top 5. As we get ready to go racing here, Dean Clavin in 6th will be outside row 3. Exciting stuff. Had a long green flag run there to get us to the stage break, hoping that we can open up the same way. And two of the best drivers so far tonight are at the front of the field. It is Wygant and Gaiman that'll lead the field to green under the lights here in California. Green flag is out. Away we go. Gaiman, slower restart there to Oberstadt behind in row 2. Will it be enough to threaten the 61? No. Answer that question pretty firmly answered by Gaiman as he shuts the door. Instead, Kevin Feemster on the outside of Patrick Oberstadt moves up to 3rd. And whoa, trouble! Whoa, huge trouble. The leaders all around. Caution's out. And a bobble by Josh Gaiman, I believe, spins Pacey Wygant around and nowhere for Kevin Feemster to go. Feemster will recollect his spot because he didn't spin. He won't get all the way back to the front of the field, I don't believe. Maybe I'm wrong. No, he won't get all the way to the front. He'll end up in, I believe, 4th, though, because that's when the caution came out. Field freezes at the time of caution. Those that are stationary at the time of caution will move to the back of the field. And an incident, Josh Gaiman overdriving there, just changed, once again, the complexion of this race. And here's a look at the caution. 19th of the night. And we'll take a look from AB in slow motion. I can keep an eye on the 61 of Josh Gaiman. Sends it on the 00, trying to go for the race lead. Rear brakes, as it was with Byron Jones and Blake Henderson. So it is with Josh Gaiman, wiping out the entire top 3 there. And Feemster counting his lucky stars that he didn't get more damage out of that. Just an overdrive from Josh Gaiman we've seen so many times. And it happens so easily here with the rear brake bias. Just too much for how deep he was driving into that corner. 19th caution of the night. 5th caution of this main event. And it gives Patrick Overstat the race lead back. He seemed like he was a duck out of water. Just walking at a leisurely pace while everyone walked away from him. And now he's back at the front of the field. Clavin in 2nd, Roberts 3rd, Feemster 4th, Sharp 5th, Steven Overstat up to 6th. As this field flips on its head again. And for the second time, your front row for a start doesn't see another restart. Pace car is in, green flag flies, away we go. Car tagging the fence further behind. I believe that was the 6 of Swatsworth that tagged the fence for a moment. Car is spinning further back. Swatsworth and Gaiman again. I don't think they're linked. 6th caution of the main event, 20th of the night. Is it bad that I'm not exasperated yet? Let's take a look. Swatsworth in the 6. Yeah, Gaiman's not in this conversation just yet. Swatsworth, yeah, he just overdrives it as well. I don't know if it's a rear brake lockup or if he just overdrives it and hits the apron. Yeah, Gaiman tries to avoid it, almost succeeds in that, doesn't hit him. So no contact between the 61 and the 6. But also not great. And Dustin Hall also counting his lucky stars that he wasn't involved in that one too. See if we can get a better angle of that incident with Swatsworth here. Does he just overdrive it like Gaiman did last caution, or? Yeah, 100%. He is loose. He's spinning before he even gets to the entrance of 1. Yeah, those rear brakes way dialed back. Yeah, he did come down pit lane. Fresh set of tires, especially in the rear where he spun out. 20th caution of the night overall, 6th caution of the main event. We have more racing coming up here on Wednesday. ABN programming alert, the ABN Champ Car World Series season finale from Chicagoland. Beginning 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Twitch. And then on Saturday, it is the ARC High Octane Series from Chicagoland as well. Going to spend some time in the Midwest this weekend. And then we're back at it again next Monday, HTL Cup Series racing from Talladega. Oberstadt picked the outside lane for this restart over Clavitt. It's teammates outside lane. Oberstadt and Roberts on the outside. A little bit of a check up there on the inside lane as we go racing. And Clavitt, pretty smart to it, was given the inside lane for that restart and said, okay, cool, I'll go for the race lead, and he's got it. Oberstadt over-unders him, but Clavitt led that lap. Less than 30 laps to go in regulation here at Kern. Five laps to go. Cars touching the wall on the outside of turn 2. But everyone roughly keeping it put together. As Oberstadt gets back to the race lead and is trying to do what was done to him earlier on in this race when it was Wygen and Gaiman that walked away from him. He's trying to walk away from Dean Clavitt, and it looks like he might do just that as Bryn Roberts tries to take second place away from him. Adam Benefiel in the 22 car, filling in for Gary Donaldson. Also trying to go for a podium. as the laps tick away. With 20 laps to go, we've got 18 cars on the lead lap. Dustin Hall back to being 2 laps down again. Josh Soucy's day over. He called it quits after the halfway point in Sage. Said he was done. Don't blame him. And I was kind of monitoring to see if anyone's making some significant moves here. Everyone's sort of stagnated at the moment. You saw that down the back straightaway. Good look. Sort of just where everyone's at. Everyone's single file now at the moment. Which, a good omen that we should be able to get some racing in all the way to the white flag here in Bakersfield. But you never know. Henderson down pit lane. And I believe this is going to be day ending for the 25. As he comes down to his pit box. Trouble for the 25. I believe tagging the wall, I think, one too many times and doing damage to the suspension work. And Henderson will end up being relegated to 19th place. Which I know, unfortunately for Henderson, kind of just spelling how bad his season has been. That is Henderson's best finish so far this season in the first 4 races. So not great for the 25. It continues here in Bakersfield. Battling further back. That is Lily Sharp and Kevin Feemster, the 71 and the 19. Duking it out. Oh, trouble behind. Stoltz. Stoltz spun around. Caution out once again. Coming to 10 laps to go. We've wondered what was going to happen. And there you go. You got it there. Josh Stoltz spun around. That does give Dustin Hall a lap back here. We'll take a look at what happened with that yellow flag. And so it looks like battling with Chad Swatsworth there. We'll take a look. It really kind of starts here out of turn 4. And we will slow-mo it here. Swatsworth sends it in pretty hard in the turn 1 for our 21st caution of the night. 7th in the main. Yeah, Stoltz just not aware of how much Swatsworth had closed the gap in the turn 1 and tried closing the door. Swatsworth, a pretty ambitious lunge, to be fair, for the 6. Thankfully, nothing significantly damaged on either car. I think just shaking up there and both of them losing spots as a result. But still could be a lot better, and it does mean that we're probably going to see chaos here in these last 10 laps. Just given how these races have shaken out tonight, not a lot of hope so far. Overstat also not happy with that caution coming out. He had things pretty comfy. Up until that point. Ready to go back racing once again. 21st restart of the night. Green flag flies. 6 laps to go. Wheel spin. Vorndren. And everyone scrambled to get around him. Oberstadt and Roberts, teammates, battling up for the race win at the moment. Oberstadt sends it into turns 1 and 2 and sticks it. Here comes Kissenweather, the 2. Cars wrecking behind, and that is Josh Gaiman and Josh Stoltz. And we've got overtime. These two once again connecting. They connected once before, and they're at it again. 22nd caution of the night, 8th in the main. And you can see this time it's Stoltz, the sender. And we're actually going to back this up just a little bit because he sends it hard on the, that's the 00 of Wygent that he was sending it on. He gets right to the quarter panel, but then really tries the lunge through turn 3. And as we've seen so many times, the rear brakes dialed way too far back to be able to do that comfortably. And Gaiman just gets clobbered. Sawyer gets into the Josh Stoltz. Josh Gaiman asking himself at this point, why did I come back to Monday nights? And the question is, and the answer is, no idea. 22 cautions. Gaiman's been a part of almost a quarter of them. In one way or another. Not been great for the 61 car tonight. Great news is that this race should not be cut off by our hard cutoff time of 11 p.m. Shouldn't be. I would hazard a guess, since we're in overtime now, we have 3 attempts at an overtime finish that we're guaranteed to finish this race before 10:45. With 22 cautions tonight. If I'm not mistaken, we are 2 away from the most in HTL ever. If I'm not mistaken. The ABN record was blown out of the water. RX A Cup Series at Bristol, 38 cautions this year. That is going to be really hard to top. And I really don't want to see that topped tonight. But the HTL record in threat tonight as far as overall for the night. Patrick Oberstadt, Mark Kissenweather, front of the field. Green flag flies, away we go. Attempt number 1 at overtime. And trouble already, Benefield. Around he goes. And the yellow does come out for it. That was a really weird spin for the 22 at Bakersfield from the top 4. Not sure what happened to that 22 car. We'll take a look. That was quick how the car just spun around. We'll look at the replay. Keep an eye on the 22 at Bakersfield. Slow motion, quarter speed. That's a little bit why. A little bit of net code between Bryn Roberts and Bakersfield. Sends the 83 around, or sends the 22 around. And he tries saving it here. He just overcorrects and ends up pancaking the driver's side into the wall. So back to the field he goes, 18th place. With Susie being out and Henderson being on pit lane, his day done. Go back racing here. Second attempt at overtime. We get to the white flag. The race is official. That's what everyone's gunning for. It's been a long day for Mark Kissenweather at the front of the field here, trying to grab a race win after being in the last chance qualifier, having to win the last chance qualifier to make it into the main event tonight. See how it plays out. Pace car is in, green flag flies, and away we go. Kissenweather ahead of a lot of Carolina Beagle racing cars. Drifts up the racetrack, looking for the white flag. Gave the door to Patrick Oberstadt. Drove a little too hard there, 3-4. One to go, presented by Southern Cleaning Company. And here we go. Sin to the bottom of the racetrack. Could not get to it. Patrick Oberstadt's going to grab a second race win this season. He wins Kern Raceway. Kissenweather second. Bryn Roberts another podium, P3. A great run for Patrick Oberstadt. And he pads his Vegas win with another one. He wins in Nevada. He wins in California. Cousins congratulating each other there, Patrick and Steven. Spins into the nose of Patrick Oberstadt there. Peculiar that Steven's celebrating when he finished fourth, but Patrick celebrating his second win of the season here tonight. It's all eyes on Patrick Oberstadt, the 88 car, as he wins in Bakersfield. We'll talk to our podium interviewers in just a moment here from the main event. We will go over the results, though, in this race, the Bakersfield 300. here in Kern County Raceway. Patrick Oberstadt, Mark Kissenweather, Bren Roberts, your top three. Hopefully we'll hear from all three of them tonight. Steven Oberstadt in fourth, his best finish of the season so far. As was expected, I think we called it out. The three should have been good here, and was. Dean Clavitt in the top five. Ahead of Lily Sharp, who had a good run. Chad Swatsworth had to recover to seventh place. Pacey Wygant, this is a race of what could have been for the 00 and the 61. Had they not wrecked at the beginning of the second half of the main event, it would have been those two, the 00 and the 61, battling it out for the race win tonight. Pacey recovers to eighth place ahead of Kevin Feemster. Tucker Sawyer rounds out the top 10. Eli Sasek, Billy Thompson, they round out the top 12. And what was a very challenging night here in California. Matt 413th, Josh Gaiman, Josh Stoltz, Byron Jones, a bit of what could have been for all three of them. Dustin Hall, just surviving at this point. Not the race he wanted to have, but will be the race that he has to take here. Adam Benefiel in 18th place. His debut goes sour late here in Bakersfield. Blake Henderson and Josh Susie retiring from the main event here tonight. 19th and 20th for both of them as things stand. And we'll pull the results on the left-hand side of your screen, waiting to see if we do get to hear from podium finishers at all. Kind of waiting to see how this plays out. Not a lot of friendly remarks from what I'm seeing. Yeah, a lot of people pretty upset with how things played out tonight in general. 23 cautions, understandable across the events tonight. Just kind of waiting to see if how this all plays out. Seeing if we do get any conversations or remarks from any of our podium finishers here. Seems like a lot of debriefing going on at the moment. Want to give all those teams and drivers a chance to actually go through and debrief here with those results on the side of your screen here in Bakersfield. Again, Patrick Oberstadt, your race winner, second time this season. Mark Kissenweather, second place. Bren Roberts, third. A lot of points being padded by those three. Steven Oberstadt, a much-needed result here, fourth tonight. Dean Clavitt, really needed result here as well for him after missing a race. Failed to qualify for the race in Las Vegas. And then Sharp, Swatsworth, Wygant, Feemster, and Sawyer all making the most of it here. We will talk to at least a couple of our podium finishers here. We'll talk to the Carolina Beagle teammates. We'll see if Mark Kissenweather makes himself available here tonight or not. We'll start with the 83 of Bren Roberts, who had a pretty exciting race, all things be told. That being said, surviving the chaos here at Kern Raceway for a third place. Not a bad place to be after winning in Nevada, or winning in Willow Springs last Monday.
Yeah, first I got to apologize to Adam. I don't know exactly what happened. I haven't really looked at it. I know that I entered the corner a little higher than I had been. I think I neck-coated him. So that sucks, but so I apologize for that. Obviously, I don't want to do that. But yeah, we talked a couple weeks ago, and we talked about how next couple weeks are going to be pretty crazy. So to get a win and get a third, and obviously CBR to have 3 out of the 4 race wins this year is great.
And obviously, this was a bit of an experiment here. Heat races, a little bit more familiar with the old A-squared format when you started racing in A-squared initially. It didn't help the cautions. Everyone was wondering how that would play out here. 23 cautions over the course of the night. It seemed like everyone was struggling with the rear brakes. What was it like on the 83 camp? Because it seemed like those cars had it dialed in at the end, but it was rough to start.
It was so tight. The setup it was very tight. Yeah, you had to put a lot of rear brake into it, and some people were overstepping their boundary. I wasn't as aggressive as other people were, so I really didn't get that loose feeling on entry. But yeah, it was a struggle between whether you wanted to put the rear brake in it and take that risk or not. I chose not to take that risk, and didn't really pass anybody, but just through extraction kind of got up there and in position to make something happen.
Obviously, huge results for the team. Third race win you mentioned there between you winning one and now Patrick having 2 race wins to kick off the season. We head to another very team-oriented racetrack right now as things sit. Talladega next Monday. We know how good the team is at the super speedways. Is the hope going to be that it's 4 for 5 next week in Alabama?
I hope so. If you see this number 83 on the broadcast, trust me, I'm trying to lead every lap. I don't care what lap it is. I don't get frustrated after a lot of races, but when I lose a plate race, I do, because I feel like I'm the best plate racer out there, and I feel like that's the mentality you got to have going into those to win those. So I'll be trying to lead every lap, try to win the race, see what happens.
A fantastic job here in Bakersfield for Bren Roberts, the 83 car for Carolina Beagle Racing. Before we let you go and celebrate the podium and get ready for the race in Talladega next Monday, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congratulations on it.
Thanks to you for the broadcast. Thanks to my teammates for all the hard work they put in this week. They put up a couple different practice sessions. I wasn't able to make it out to any of them, but just to do that shows the teamwork that we have this year. And shout out to the people who race clean. Mark is one of those. He had an opportunity to clean out Patrick, and selfishly my eyes gleamed because I thought I could get a race win, but I'm glad he didn't do it. I'm glad Pat got the win. So it's fun out there.
A fantastic job for the 83 camp tonight. We'll see if he can grab another race win in Talladega next Monday. Brent, congratulations, and we'll hopefully talk to you again next week.
Thank you.
And from Bren Roberts, we'll move on to the second place finisher tonight. We'll start with Mark Kissenweather. A very rough night, but a sweet ending, all things considered, having to go through the last chance qualifier. You win the last chance qualifier and a chance to win the main event here tonight. Walk us through your race, because you had quite the journey tonight.
Oh, yeah. Heat 1 was going great. I went from 11th to 4th, and then I got killed twice. And then I won the LCQ, and I was just like, well, I made the race. And then I double downshifted, so I drove from the back to the front twice. So it was very eventful, very fun. I love passing cars.
And you passed a lot of them. I don't know if we have an interruption in the audio or not. We'll double check here. It cut out for you. You still there?
Oh yeah. No, I was finished.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, you got to pass a lot of cars, and obviously that was obviously a huge benefit for you in the last chance qualifier and the main event. You had to do that twice in the main event. Walk us through just sort of the complications of this race. It seemed like everyone was battling with the rear brakes. We heard from Bren Roberts. He said the car was tight, and the rear brakes was the way everyone was trying to compensate for that. What was the way that worked for you? Because, again, one of the most amount of passes made. Where's that 2 car tonight?
Yeah, I found my car was turning pretty good on the top. It was a very tight setup, tight track or whatever, but when you put a bunch of cars that act like boats in such a small area, there's people are going to hit each other. Like, there's no way around it. But for the most part, the main was pretty clean from my experience. But yeah, like I had the minimum rear brake bias in it, and that was all I had. So I don't know what else I could have done besides just absolutely wrecking Patrick.
And obviously, you talk about this, the short tracks being so difficult with this next gen car. It seems like it's either wrecking loose or it's plowing tight all the time. We have to deal with this again at Richmond, which is not going to be a good omen with how we saw things tonight. 23 cautions tonight. We do have Talladega to try to cleanse the palate, depending on how you feel about Alabama. I know the Militia Racing Club, not many of the drivers, I think, love this plate tracks, but the team's good at them. Is that feeling still consistent that the team has a chance to really kind of reset things and go after and win another plate race after winning Daytona?
Yeah, I think all 3 of us pretty much hate super speedway racing, but we know how to race it and know what to do and when to do things, and the communication between us is pretty good. So we'll just try to make something happen. But I'm looking forward to more short tracks like Richmond. I almost won last year until I lane changed because I forgot about it. I forgot about the rules because it was my first season. But yeah, anything but a super speedway would be nice.
Well, we got a couple of those races coming up here. We got Talladega next Monday, and then Michigan right up your alley coming up here in 2 weeks' time. Before we let you go and let everybody get ready for the races coming up ahead here in the month of October, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congrats on the comeback drive, not only once, but twice here tonight, to not only get to the main event, but to get on the podium here tonight.
Thank you. I'd like to thank JonesPND.com, Coulter's Cards, Militia Racing Club, Go Time Cards, and you for broadcasting. I bet it was pretty good.
We've seen more chaotic here on AOVN, that is for sure. We'll go with that. But a lot of fun watching the 2-car run through the field tonight, and obviously, hopefully, good luck, and we get to talk to you again in Alabama in 7 days.
All right, thank you.
That was Mark Kissenweather, the second place driver here tonight. A great job for him after having to drive through the last chance qualifier to make it into the main event. Now we have to talk to the race winner, who did not have any such complications, did well in the heat race he was in, got himself locked in automatically, and then goes on and wins the race. Patrick Oberstadt, second race win of the season after winning in Vegas. West Coast Swing's been pretty kind to you in that 88 car tonight.
It was a good night, I gotta say. Coming in for practice, it was a little rough, and a lot to learn. But once the heat race came around, I got more comfortable around cars and in the pack, and seemed to go my way.
Obviously, we know how good the Carolina Bagel Racing team is at short tracks. It's no surprise. You look at the results there, 3 of the top 4. Steven finished 4th there behind Bren. Pretty good run, all things considered. But what was the magic recipe for Kern Raceway? Because this was a track that not many people had raced before, and those that had still had problems.
Yeah, I think it was, you had to back up the corner quite a bit to actually make it down to the bottom to be fast. But then towards the end of the run, it seemed like the high line, if you were fighting someone, would be the better line because you had more momentum and giddy up out of the corner. But and that and lock it, if you didn't lock up the left front, I feel like I locked it up a couple times and I could definitely notice the heat. And then it'd finally cool down and I feel better in the car.
And obviously it worked out here for you. Obviously, avoiding all the calamity here tonight at Kern Raceway was pretty critical for you. The 88 car, one of the few cars that was completely clean throughout the night. That helps you out. And now you've got the insurance policy. First driver to 2 wins this season, getting 2 of those first 4 races. You got Talladega coming up, and that team is an armada at the Super Speedways, a place that you've won before, coming up at Talladega. What's the general vibe going into the month of October? Is this a place where you can possibly continue it?
Yeah, that's the plan, but I would like to get some of my teammates in if that's the case. And you know, me and Bren and Steven and all of us, we all work very well together, and I'll push them to the win if I have to, because it's you got that insurance policy, like you said.
It's an insurance policy, and now with the results you've gotten here tonight, a lot closer to the championship lead here, so you may not even need those race wins. The playoff points are going to be very nice, though, as things sit. Talladega, Michigan, and then Richmond coming up here, the next 3 races to end off the month of October. It's going to be a lot of fun seeing how the Carolina Bagel team continues this run of form. 3 wins, the last 3 in a row for the team going into Alabama next Monday. Before we let you go and let you celebrate your race win and get ready for the race in Talladega next week, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congrats on your second win of the season. This might be the season of Patrick Oberstadt.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to thank, first off, my brother again for letting me in this league and running with him, and also destroying my perfectly nice car at the end. I'd like to thank David Smeal for the paint schemes, and then all my teammates and you for putting on the broadcast every Monday. It's nice because my girlfriend and my mom get to watch. So, but other than that, I think we're all set.
Fantastic job here. Patrick Oberstadt winning the second time this season. His brother Steven on the top 5 as well. His best result of the season here at Kern 2. Patrick, enjoy the race win, and hopefully we'll talk to you again here next week in Talladega.
All right, sounds good. Have a good night.
That was Patrick Oberstadt, the race winner here tonight. As we heard from him, really important having those team cars together here, and it's going to be even more important at Talladega next Monday. Racing to go before we get to next Monday's race in Talladega. It is the ABN Champ Car finale from Chicagoland, and we stay in Chicagoland for the RX High Octane Series on Saturday. The ABN Champ Car World Series ends on Wednesday right here on Twitch at 8 p.m. Eastern. On behalf of everyone here for HTL, the HTL Cup Series, and everyone at ABN Studios, thank you so much for joining us as we get ready for the fall of racing. Stay safe, stay healthy. See you on Chicagoland. So long, everybody.